starring with Gene Hackman and Henry Thomas in Misunderstood from MGM-UA. This is Mr. Rip Torn. Now, the name Rip Torn, the face, is going to be as familiar, I suppose, to millions of movie viewers in the next few weeks as it ever has been because of the Academy Award nomination for Cross Creek. Do you view that with some amusement that it might take that kind of nomination to get your name a household word when you've been around for a while anyway?
Well, I've played so many wide variety of roles with so many different kind of beards and accents and everything that I think the name is known because somebody said, "Where did I know you from?" And I say crossword puzzles. So I've kind of been a filler name for many years.
3 words and 4 words.
3 letters, Rip, actor Torn, you know.
Now, in Misunderstood, you are a business partner with Gene Hackman.
Right.
But more importantly, you're a bit of a confidant and advisor because we have here a situation involving Gene Hackman's son, played by Henry Thomas. There's a bit of an estrangement after the loss of the son's mother. Do you see this difficulty in communication between fathers and sons as a topic that maybe movies haven't dealt with enough, or what? Is it unusual to see it here?
Well, it's one of the main themes of all literature, and the greatest plays of all times have had to do with the misunderstandings between fathers and sons, or fathers and daughters, or mothers and daughters or sons. Family struggle. I think all of us have, if we have children, have had to be, someone has to step forward sometimes and say, hey, you know, you're a little rough on the kid.
Can parents get a little too close to those situations and maybe not realize?
Sure. I've had to do it myself, and I've had to my own children, I've had to say, look, I was wrong, and I dumped on you when I had no right to, and I apologize for that. So.
In view of that kind of role, you're a very model of restraint, and I've had enough of a chance to talk with you so far, Rip Torn, to know that you're a somewhat restless man. You're always on the move. You love to travel. In fact, when you make films, you seem to have an uncanny knack for combining the work of filming with the pleasure of touring the locations where you're doing that. How do you do that?
Well,
You've got a great agent, I think.
Well, I do have a great agent, but also I've been willing to do, since I am a character actor, I can do a wide variety of roles. I'm not identified with any one thing, so I look upon my work as kind of a continuing adult education program. I guess it takes me to a lot of different countries.
Well, Montana, for example, Heartland, Cross Creek, down Florida. And I've made so many good friends in all those areas that I continue to travel around, and I spent a great number of years in New York City, even though I grew up in Texas. And of late, I felt, so many people have said, look, we don't expect you to abandon Los Angeles or New York, but how about getting out to the rest of the country and letting us see you in some plays and other things. So legendarily, actors have always been gypsies and moved around and with a traveling kind of circuit, and so that's kind of what I'm doing these days. You've even threatened to work for nothing.
Oh, I haven't threatened to.
If the paid work weren't there.
I've always, if I couldn't get that's what I tell young actors. I said, don't sit by the phone and wait for the phone to ring. Get out, make your own projects, do your own thing. If they see you working somewhere else, they'll give somebody the idea of using you, so that's what I've done.
You're also something of an entrepreneur in the theater world. What do you like to work for?
My friend Michael McClure, who's a poet and playwright in San Francisco, and I've done several of his plays, they say that I build a protective bubble around the actor. And I've had people say, this darn guy is temperamental, and I said, if an actor is complaining about something, usually it's a real burr under his saddle, instead of worrying about his temperament, because who has a right to have temperament more than an actor? I mean, that's what we're paying him for. Let's find out what's worrying him. So I try to be supportive, just as when I was an officer in the Army. The old tradition in the Army is that you took care of the equipment and the men first, so before you took care of yourself. So as a director, I try to do that.
You seem to have a very practical outlook upon your craft. Were you ever an angry young man, and do you view yourself now as having moderated any of those views?
Oh, I described to somebody, they say you've mellowed. I said, that sounds like a piece of camembert cheese or something. I said, let's say that I still got some fire, but I think the coals are a little more banked than they used to be. And I've had people try to pick fights with me, and I said, I'm not interested in this. I said, if I want to throw a big scene, somebody's got to pay a ticket to see it. I just walk away and take care of business.
How important is a possible Academy Award winning performance in Cross Creek to you?
That'll be the icing on the cake, but I feel I've already won. I mean, I've gone this long, and this is my first nomination. I've already had a lot of celebrations over this, and so have all my family, relatives, and friends all over the country.
Are there any projects coming up that are going to take you on yet ever more far-flung locations?
Well, I did a film with Willie Nelson called Songwriter. It's back in my old hometown area, Williamson County, Austin. And when I had to pull out my Texas driver's license, proved to people I was really born and raised in Texas, I figured maybe I ought to get out and the rest of the country. So I'm setting up a tour of plays I'm going to do first in the settlement houses of New York, and which we'll probably do close to free, and then we hope to tour around, make a little money, and visit with the rest of the country.
Well, Rip Torn, in spite of a somewhat formidable reputation, I'll have to say that as I've talked with you this morning, I'll have to echo Jimmy Cagney. You ain't so tough.
Okay, good
to
enough.
talk to you. Rip Torn in MGM-UA's Misunderstood, also starring Gene Hackman and Henry Thomas.